just showed up, turned on this Ice-O-Matic. I think it's a CIM 0430. Customer said it's not making ice, something about the fan won't stay on or something. So let's check it out. It was unplugged when I showed up. I plugged it in. The power was off. I hit the power button. Everything started to run as it should. Compressor's on. Does not look like my fan is spinning. It is a little bit, but it's kind of hot in there. Actually, should grab a ladder so I can climb up top. We may have to start checking for power. Let's see. While I was out getting my ladder, my compressor shut off. We gotta determine whether my fan cycle switch, which is this one, it's labeled FCCO. No, FCOO. I actually don't think that's what it is. Shoot, I might have it backwards. It might be this one. I'll double check. But this is extremely hot right here. This whole area is hot. My fan should be on. My compressor should be running, but my compressor shut off because my fan's not running. So we're gonna check to see if power is being passed to that fan using that plug right there. With my leads plugged into the fan motor plug and my meter set to read voltage, I'm getting no voltage. But with that unplugged, my compressor is running. It's gonna shut off here in a second, so I better get it plugged back in. After unplugging my machine, I went ahead, plugged my fan back in, then I came up here, verified which one of these two were my fan cycle switch. So this is a pressure switch. As the pressure in the system goes up, this closes a set of contacts that passes power between these two lines that then sends power down there to the fan. What I did was I loosened them up a little bit, so there's a little bit of space down there at the bottom that I can plug, or excuse me, clip these little clips onto. That's just gonna simulate that the switch is closed and it's gonna pass power to the fan. We're gonna see if the fan runs at all times without cycling on and off like it should. If it does, without doing any additional testing, I'll know for sure that that switch is the issue. When you plug the machine back in, this will flash. There's a delay after the machine loses power and then power is restored. The machine doesn't turn on right away. I believe it's either a 3 or 5 minute delay of this just flashing. Once that delay times out, the machine will start up like normal. We just fired up. We're gonna climb up here, take a look at our fan. Our fan is not spinning, which is strange. I believe it should be, but now I gotta double check that it's getting power. It may be that the control board is not sending power to the fan, which would suck. I take that back. I'm an idiot. It is in an initial harvest. I don't know if you can hear, there's a light hissing sound, but if I open that and close that, it should go into freeze, and then that fan should kick on. Look at that. Freaking genius. Okay, so now I'm gonna start a timer. If the machine makes ice, drops ice, goes into the next freeze cycle, all within a reasonable amount of time, we are going to chalk this call up to a bad fan cycle switch, and then we'll talk about replacing it. So I just got done diagnosing a bad fan cycle switch. Fan wasn't running, machine was going off on high head pressure. I went ahead and bypassed the fan cycle switch, and now everything's up and running and working, and it hasn't dropped its first batch of ice yet, but everything's getting cold and doing what it's supposed to be doing. I honestly thought I was going to be on hold a little bit longer. That's why I called you a little bit ahead of time. But you answered first ring, so it's actually been really awesome. So my question is, I have been told in the past to bypass the fan cycle switches and call it good as long as the machine's in a, temperature controlled environment and isn't going to be outside where it's, dropping below a certain temperature. And I just wanted to call and verify that that was still the case, or if check to see if you guys wanted me to recover everything and swap out that pressure switch.
No, it's good that way. As long as you, like I said, as long as you're inside, you'll be fine. The control board will do everything else for it.
Yeah, the control board shuts the fan off during harvest anyways, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. That's a easy fix, and I'll just go ahead and bypass it, and customer will be happy to have ice now.
Yes, sir.
Right on. I really appreciate your help, sir.
Yep, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to be using one of these 2-to-1 Spade connectors. They're, what do they call them on here? They call them Piggyback connectors. You can get 25 of them for about $6.50. If you're a technician, order a pack, hand a bunch of them to your coworkers. They really do come in handy. We just cycled into harvest. We're going to make sure that our harvest assist rod, which is that guy right there, well, that's the motor. The rod is kind of poking out the evaporator. Make sure that pushes forward, pushes the ice off of this evaporator, and it falls down in the bin. Just like that, we got ourselves some ice. Let's go ahead and check out what we look like. You get that piece right there. That looks like a pretty good bridge. First cycle even looks good. Usually the first cycle can be a little rough. Let's see if I can land that. Yeah, close enough. We're gonna shut this thing off so we can do our permanent fix. Press and hold the power button for 6 seconds, harvest, and then off. All right, come over here and unplug it. Just like you heard from tech support, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna lift these 2 cables off, take off our clips so we can use those on a different job. We take our little 2-to-1 Spade connector. We're gonna put it, doesn't really matter which one or where, but let's put it right here. Slide that down on there. And then we're gonna put one side on one side of the 2-to-1. I'm gonna put the other side on the other side. And now that switch is permanently bypassed. Should look something like that. Just like before, plug it back in, hit the power button. So that was fun. I'm all the way out here in the middle of the farmlands. I don't know if you saw that white scale stuff. Usually that ruins machines, makes them not work. In this case, the customer's been maintaining it pretty well. I did recommend that they pick up a scale inhibitor, just kind of like a filter system, but it kind of adds stuff to the water instead of take stuff away. It doesn't remove the scale, but what it does is it keeps the scale from sticking to surfaces, which is actually pretty genius. This machine was just the fan cycle switch. I thought it was going to be something else, but it ended up being pretty easy, and we got that bypassed. Called tech support. Tech support pretty much just said if it's not outside, go ahead and bypass it. Easy fix, saves them money, saves the customer a little bit of heartache with potentially the fan switch going out again, which is not unlikely. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If I missed something, if you have some crazy experience, or maybe I did something stupid that you wouldn't have done, go ahead and let everyone know. And then if you want to know more about Ice Machine troubleshooting, check out Ice Machine 411. Bunch of videos on there about different manufacturers, troubleshooting and service. We'll see you guys on the next one.